The questions on Joe Burrow and what he said today, I didn't get to see what he said today. What our research tells us about Joe Burrow is he's his own man. He's not going to be talked into saying things for other people's benefit. So if that's what he said, that's fantastic. I'm looking forward to getting to know him, getting to meet him through the process. Haven't been able to sit down with him yet, but we've got that on the horizon. So just looking forward to seeing the fit for he and us, and he's certainly an exciting guy to watch on tape. I can talk on and on about the things that he's done. Transferring in is not easy. I'm a transfer quarterback. I know I know the pitfalls of that, and I know how hard it is to have a team buy into you once you get there. And so I know that firsthand. And his story is such a great story of perseverance and dedication, hard work, believing in yourself, and then ultimately winning at the highest level. So it's a great story for everybody.
There's been a lot of talk about his hand size. Does that concern you at all?
Hand size, I've gone on about hand size actually up on this stage in the past, so you guys can pull out the archives. I'm not a big believer in how they measure it or whether it is going to say whether or not he can play or not, so it's not a concern. Questions on what do we need to learn about Joe Burrow throughout the process? Well, we're going to learn about a lot of guys, but with Joe, we just want to get in front of him and kind of we've talked to a lot of people about him and about his personality, and now we just want to see it come out and see the mesh with the Cincinnati Bengals and how that would fit, and just to spend time with him talking football. That's what we want to talk, football with him and just get to know him, and we're going to get to know a lot of guys throughout the process, and so we're just looking forward to that. So the questions on whether I saw any memorable throws from Joe Burrow. Yeah, we did. He's the thing that Joe does really well. Just going over his strengths is, he can play within the system and execute the system, and then he can play outside of the system if he has to. And in today's game, that's pretty important. And he's shown the ability on third down when he has to play outside of the system when he has to and get those big first downs. I think the mark of any good quarterback is how they do on third down, and he's very good there. So yeah, there's a lot to like about Joe on tape that we've seen. So the questions on the difference between Joe Burrow's 2018 and 2019 season, it'd be something we'll talk to him about and get some insight into. We're not in their building. We're not in their meetings. We don't know their offensive schemes and systems. We don't know really what changed from one year to the next. I know going into your second year as a starter is a big difference. I never got to the first year of my starting, so I guess I don't have firsthand experience in the second year. So who's next? I did. The questions on how much has the franchise changed since I've been here. I've been here a long time. I think I had hair when I arrived, so we've evolved, adapted. Football's evolved and adapted. We've changed our systems and how we scout, when we scout, who goes out, all those types of things over time. It's a gradual process. We feel good about our process. We've got a great group of scouts, and they're hardworking, dedicated, very knowledgeable. They work great together, and we believe in them. And then when we add our coaches to the mix, it's always been something that our coaches are great. They have great football knowledge, and they want to be a part of it. I've never met a coach that doesn't want to be a part of the scouting process. And so if we're going to add them to the process, we're going to use them and listen to them too when it comes time to come to a consensus. So we've evolved like every team does. questions on the major differences over the last 10 years. And, video and technology is probably the biggest difference. You're not relying on being at the school to actually see the tape during the year. We're getting the tapes very quickly after the game. And so you can sit in your office and study tape, break down tape, a lot better than you used to be able to. Just seeing the jersey numbers on the video is come a long way. So the way we do it, it stayed pretty static. During the year, our scouts are the ones that are traveling to college campuses. That's pretty much what we've always done. Yeah, Mary Kay. So the question's on Alex Van Pelt, who's a great friend of mine. I've got a lot of regard for Alex, and Alex had a desire to be a offensive coordinator, and ultimately Zach decided that we would give him that opportunity to go interview, and glad he got it. Proud of him. He'll do a great job. Unfortunately for us, but he's a guy that I've got high regard for, and I wish him the best. So the question, and I think I can get this right, but it might be, it might be beyond my capabilities, but it I guess was between some of the differences between Joe and Tua. Yeah. Well, we're gonna put a lot of research into all the prospects in this draft for sure. And Tua's had a fantastic career, and we got a chance to meet with him last night. And what a wonderful, wonderful young man. And he, over the years, when you can step in to a stage that he stepped into as a true freshman and perform the way he did, that says a lot. That says everything you need to know about the guy's character, the leadership, his belief in himself, and he's got a lot of great traits, and we're really looking forward to getting to know him throughout the process. Mm-hmm. Well, that'll be something that we go through as we go through the process. We'll evaluate every prospect in this draft as it relates to the guys that are on our current team, and then we'll make those decisions as we go. I don't have those decisions yet, but thanks.
What type of Senior Bowl did you have? The Senior Bowl? How big of a leg up does the Senior Bowl experience give you when you start this process?
Yeah, and I think it was really big this year. The questions on the Senior Bowl and how that helped us, and this year our number of interviews got reduced from 60 to 45. We get them a little longer, so I think the time frame is still similar. But for us, that having time around these guys at the Senior Bowl, kind of mitigated who we needed to bring in our room here to really get a good feel for. So it was a good year to have that. It's a beneficial thing. Our coaches did a great job with it, getting to know these guys, and our scouts were there the whole time. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the questions on the AFC North and their quarterbacks, and the AFC North's been tough since I've been in football. It just is, year in and year out. Now, we've won it some. We've had our share of successes, but we've also had our share of failures. And it's a division that just doesn't go away on a yearly basis. And the quarterbacks in there's been some turnover, but there's been some rocks, too, with Roethlisberger, and I don't know how he'll come back. That's for them to determine and find out. We've had a lot of success with Andy. I've got great regard for Andy, and he's led us to a lot of big wins and a lot of playoff appearances. And so, how we go forward will be to be determined as we go through the process. So the question is on what kind of traits, and with every quarterback, I think it starts with decision making. I think it starts with poise. Accuracy would be a huge piece of it. Anticipation would be a huge piece of it. And then, obviously leadership, intelligence, and then the ability to make plays off the script if you have to. That's kind of moving up the pecking order in today's football and in the college game and in the pro game. And you see the teams that are having great success, their guys are off script a lot, and so that's an important component that's come on. How does Joe Burrow's age? Well, I view these guys as all young, so Joe Burrow's age, is what a typical rookie would be, and I feel like it's good. I don't have a great answer for that one.
Duke Tobin almost looked like he was finally starting to break out at the beginning of the season. Is he ready to be a bona fide player?
Yeah, the question's on John Ross, and he started the season big for us, and he got hurt, and that's just been a hard thing with him. We're going to work to try to keep him healthy. He can be a difference maker for us, if he can stay healthy, and I think the coaches, want to put him in the game plan, want to have him as a guy that we have real reliance on, but he's got to stay healthy, and and we'll see how what the future holds there. I don't know what percentage of the population is left-handed, to be honest with you. So I think that's part of it, and I've heard that he does a lot of things with his right hand, just learned to throw with his left hand. I can't answer that. I don't know why there's not more left-handed quarterbacks. No, the ball spins differently for your receivers, so they got to get used to that. But other than that, I don't see. You might flop your tackles if you think you want to put one guy on the blind side, but other than that, I don't think there's a big adjustment.
This is an obvious question, but how transformative can this number one pick, should this number one pick be for this franchise?
Well, we're going to put everything we have into it to make it the right pick for us. And when you get in this spot, you want to make the most of it. It's a hard process getting to this spot. It's painful. But now that we're here, we're gonna make the most of it. We're going to pick the right guy for us. And I think there are guys who are great prospects that are going to be available to us. Everyone's going to be available to us, and that's kind of the nice thing, that we can just go through our process and make the right decision for us.
As a follow-up to that, not only the first pick of the draft, but the first pick in every round, how big a draft could this be?
Yeah, the first pick in every other round is important. I think that there's a lot of that pick has become pretty popular because people go home and they come back and then they get visions of guys who were left over from the day before, and we'll do the same thing. There'll be guys left over from the round before that we didn't feel were going to be there, and then we'll have to weigh the options of just taking a guy there, maybe sliding back. We'll see what comes, but those picks are valuable. You don't have to wait the whole day to pick. I like that.
This is a franchise that doesn't rely much on free agent. How important is this to the team's draft?
Yeah, so the question is on the free agent market, and we'll look at the free agent market for sure. It's not a question of whether we're going to spend over the course of this past CBA. We're a top half of the league spending team on players, so we're going to spend on players. It's just a question of, do you spend on Tim versus Tom, our guy versus their guy? Do you try to extend your guy? Do you go out and we're going to balance all of that this year. We'll look at free agency as we always do. We'll see if there's some fits. We think there might be, but until you get in front of these guys and start talking to them and seeing what their interest level is, and it's hard to really predict. It's something you got to be flexible on, and we're going to try to add pieces there, and we're going to try to hit in the draft. Every good team, that's what they want to do. They want to hit in the draft, and then they want to re-sign those guys before they get to free agency. Yeah, the question's on the new coaching staff last year and how long it takes to get kind of cohesion, I guess. It's always easier going into the second year. Yeah, we feel like we're further along in the evaluation process together as a group, and kind of knowing what we want and what we're looking for, and so I think the second year is a big jump year for our systems and how we work together for sure. Well, you got guys coming in late in the process, and we're trying to put in all of our systems. We're trying to build our playbooks, and we're going through the free agency process, the scouting process. So yeah, there's meetings, and we're being tugged in a lot of different directions. And we have new coaches coming on later in the process too. And so it's they're getting to know our players, and so there's a lot of newness at that first year.
Duke, as somebody who personally attended one of the games at Oregon this past season with the GMs did, and then obviously worked with Justin,
Yeah.
the Senior Bowl. What was your kind of takeaways watching him
Yeah.
beforehand and then after that?
Good question. It's on Justin Herbert, and I did go out and see him play live. Really an impressive guy. Local, really loved by the community there. At the Senior Bowl, he was great for us. He jumped right in. He learned what we wanted. He worked every day to try the techniques that we were showing him. Really did a great job with the playbook. So he was an impressive guy. We were happy and fortunate to get to work with him that week.
When much has been made about leadership or personality, with any quarterback, with him specifically, it's come up. How do you go about assessing that intangible?
Yeah, the questions on his leadership and his intangibles. We found it to be great. It's tough at an all-star game. You're meeting guys for the first time, and you're out on the practice field that afternoon. And he did a good job trying to rally the troops. All of our quarterbacks did. Jalen as well. It's a tough environment to really establish leadership over just 1 week.